everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Friday, guys. I hope your weekend is off to a great start. You guys are catching me here live on Friday, June 28th, 2024. And we're going to be doing tarot readings on the channel this evening and also on X. We are streaming live on X. So hi, everybody on other platforms. I hope you guys are well. We're just kind of crossing into starting to put some of these streams here also. So if you guys are new, there we go. If you're new to my channel, or if you're new to my X account, I am a tarot reader and astrologer. I'm here every Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we do live readings. So there's a QR code somewhere up here. You can scan that if you'd like to get a reading. We're doing 3-card tarot spreads for $40. Single card readings for $20, and ask whatever questions you want. That QR code is going to take you to my PayPal, where you can put a question in the memo box. Put your question there, whatever you would like in terms of what I need to know about the situation, and then we're going to be pulling your cards. You're going to see an overhead camera, so you can see what it's like to get a reading with me. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like the stream, and make sure you're subscribed, because we are here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, giving you guys the insights with what's going on with the cosmos, working with tarot, as well as the Sabian symbols. And I hope you guys are doing well. So I'll say hi to Dorothy. What's up, Dorothy? David's here, and Briana's here. What's up, guys? Like the stream, guys. Let people know that we're here. That really helps with the engagement. And let's go ahead and get into seeing who we have. Are there any level 3 people who want to get their reading? David says, a few weekends ago, I was so excited and ready for the live show, and it was a Thursday. What's up, Hermes? Hermes says, what's up, spirit guides? What's up, Lindy? All right, so I have memberships on my channel. Basically, with the memberships, you guys support me as a full-time content creator. I create long format tarot and astrology videos. I teach astrology as well, and there's tons of content that you get. So if you guys join my memberships, there's 3 different levels. Level 3, you're going to get a shout out. You're going to help me monthly, and you're also going to get a reading once a month. It's a super great deal, and we take our level 3 members first, so you guys don't have to wait. So we've got Dorothy here, but if anybody else kind of pops in here who's level 3, let me know. This is the last live that we're going to be doing for the month of July. But it's not too late. You guys can join memberships if you want to do that. You can get a reading now, and you can get a reading next week. You could definitely do that. So get in the queue. I've got, other than Dorothy for our level 3, I've got Silk, Yana, Sarah, Frankie, and Briana. We'll let you guys know how long we leave the queue open for. I appreciate your patience, because I'm juggling a couple things. I'm doing the readings and also kind of trying to keep up with it with the chat and the PayPal. But we appreciate your patience, because we will be doing the readings in the order that we receive them. So I'm going to start with Dorothy. You may hear me call out a couple names. I'll let you guys know who's on deck. So if you hear your name being called, that means that your reading is coming up. And then we'll do the reading, and hopefully I can answer your guys' questions. So let's go ahead and get started with Miss Dorothy. What's up, Dorothy? She says, can you do a 3-card reading on getting a car in the next couple of months? All right, great question. What kind of a car are you thinking about getting, Dorothy? And more importantly, what color? What kind of a car and what color? I'd be curious to hear what you've got your eye on. Let's see if the tarot can give us any insight as to whether or not Dorothy should be getting some new wheels in the next couple of months. Oh, interesting. Oh, a red Tesla. So I'm a little torn. So I'm gonna be honest with you. These cards just jumped out. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw that. We don't have a replay, but this is what I got. Okay, for the replay. Knight of Cups, the Strength card, and the Ace of Coins. So this kind of a freebie, but they did jump out, so I kind of, by rule of thumb, have to read them. Knight of Cups is talking about making decisions that's more emotionally or intuitively based. Could it be impulse shopping? Could it be having your heart set on something, maybe? The Knight of Cups is also about going and checking something out, feeling it out. So that could mean test driving it, seeing if you feel comfortable in it, making sure that you feel comfortable with what it ultimately is going to cost. But this is also about kind of your intuition or your emotions leading you to go and make a decision. Obviously, this is also like, it's a horse, so it is about transportation, movement, but feeling moved emotionally to do something. Strength card does kind of reference the time period of August. So when the sun is kind of in Leo, so it could be late July, early August. The strength card is about not feeling like you have to push a situation or feeling like you want it to kind of come about naturally. Maybe you tell yourself, okay, if I see a red Tesla, it's got to have, you know, X, Y, and Z that I want with it. And then also simultaneously, it's got to be the right situation at the right time. If that happens and, you know, that happens to fall in my lap, or I end up finding an ad for it, or maybe I find one that's like a really great deal and you don't feel pushed into purchasing something, then the strength card is saying like it just might happen naturally and kind of align you with what it is you're hoping to get. And this also is about, I think strength can be like emotional strength. So this can also be showing like a little bit of like, not resistance, but patience when it comes to actually like going and getting the car, not feeling like you got to do it all at one time. And then finally we have the Cybertruck coming up. And then we have the 9 of Coins, which is, for me, that's the treat yourself card, right? This is like the going out and spending money on, you know, nice things that you deserve. 9 of Coins is a well-kept woman. So this represents kind of indulging a little bit and being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So these cards jumped out, right? I just had to kind of read them. And so these are the cards that I pulled for you. Interesting that you get the Emperor, which can be talking about making a decision. This is also red. You get the 2 of Coins, which talks about over the next 2 months, which lands in August. And then you get the Chariot card, which does talk about making a move, something that involves, you know, getting a vehicle. It also can be talking about traveling somewhere to get it. So it almost makes me feel like you may find exactly what you're looking for in another location, right? So there's something there that kind of makes me feel like you're like, oh, I find exactly what I'm looking for, but I'd have to have it shipped here, or I'd have to, you know, go out of my way to go and look at it. But it does seem to kind of literally, ironically, mirror the very cards that I pulled. So it's kind of confirming the same thing. I like the red. I do feel like this can also be about you kind of weighing your options, being like, well, you know, do I feel like this is something that I can manage? It may be a bit of a learning curve for you, adapting and being able to have like a vehicle that could be an electric vehicle. So it might require a little bit more responsibility in terms of like knowing how that works and like, you know, being able to actually service the vehicle than usual. And then also the 2 of Coins is like weighing your options and being like, you know, is this the right time to do this? Do I feel like I need to go with somebody who can kind of help support me in the process? Do I bring my dad? Do I bring my brother? You know, do I bring like a male friend, the Emperor? And then the 2 of Coins, I think, is about kind of going back and forth between 2 things. So there you have it. Send us photos of your brand new red Tesla when it pops up. I hope we get to see what you get. My husband's been on the waiting list for a Cybertruck for a while. He got that for Christmas like a couple years ago. So we're just waiting until there's some newer versions that come out. All right, so we have next on the list, I've got Silk, Yana, and Sarah. Okay. Thanks, Dorothy. I appreciate it. Hey, Darlene. So let's take a look. Let's see what Silk has to say. It's always good to see you again, Silk. Name S. Sorry, I look at the name that comes up first. So S. Thinking about the previous partner often and been having a hard time moving on. It feels like I can't shake this person off of me. Are there any messages for me to help me find love again? What's up, Victoria? Let me know. Send your question. I'll put you in the queue. So let's see what we can answer for S. They're having a hard time kind of letting go of a past partner. Is there any messages that we have that can help them when it comes to clarity and finding love again? So let's take a look. All right, so in this order, 3 Three of Wands, Knight of Wands, Five of Wands. Holy cow, it feels like the whole situation is a bit feisty, a bit heated. So first of all, when I see three cards that have the same element, it can talk about like needing to be aware of what that element represents, right? So Wands is passion, it's sexuality, it's creativity, it can be frustration, it could be anger. There's not really a lot of like super angry cards per se, but the cards do kind of wrap up the reading with the Five of Wands, which can feel like you're trying to fight off feelings, you're trying to kind of like, you know, fight a situation that you can't really kind of move away from. Sorry, I'm bumping the camera there. Three of Wands is about moving on, okay? So it's basically going, you know what, I've moved on from the situation. I'm going to see what the future holds. This is kind of where you've been, all right? So it does say that you tried to move on. You're trying to see who or what else is out there. It does mean that you were optimistic about the future and you were making the necessary moves to be able to kind of move on with your life. Knight of Wands coming up does make me feel like, on one hand, this can be you that's kind of getting to a point where, and I don't know if you like resonate with this, but it's like, you know, you get to that point in a breakup where it's like, you're like, all right, I'm either going to kind of fall back and I'm going to kind of like fall back into old patterns and I'm going to continue to get hung up or like maybe reconnect to that person or whatever, or I'm really going to kind of get over the hurdle and move on. I think with the Knight of Wands being in the current position, it's kind of saying like that's where you're at right now. Like it may feel like the most challenging right before you actually meet somebody new or right before you actually turn a corner and you're like, okay, things are better. The Knight of Wands, to be completely frank, can also talk about the physical connection, the sexual connection, the experience that you had with that person, and that it could have been something that's really hard to forget. And difficult to kind of move on from, because there can be this feeling of like having had something kind of like woken up in you or something that was like triggered, you know, like an awakening of sorts, or something that made you kind of realize like, wow, you know, I didn't think it was possible to have this kind of connection with someone. So, you know, wands can be like matches. You strike the match and then it's like lit. So for you, it's hard for you to kind of put that out because it was such a strong, such a powerful, such a passionate connection. And so when the Knight of Wands comes up, there can be this feeling of being like, I want to go back to that. I need to have more of that. You know, because I was so strongly kind of connected to this person, there can be lots of like moods and reactions and frustration, a whole range of emotions that can kind of come up with the Knight of Wands. But the Knight of Wands is temporary. It's not something that lasts forever, which is why I'm telling you, I think you're kind of halfway through this process of actually being able to get to the other side. The problem is that you have the Five of Wands in the final position. The confirmation card that I get is the Four of Cups. So it's basically saying like, there seems to be some unresolved issues revolving around feeling like this person didn't fight for you. And maybe some disappointment of being like, wow, obviously, you know, this is really difficult because I'm being left with the realization that maybe they weren't as, you know, feeling as passionately for me, or, you know, or as I thought they were. It can be really disappointing with the Five of Cups, the Four of Cups coming up, confirming the Five of Wands. That's kind of like, it was so real for me. It was so intense for me. And then a lot of upset, you know, feelings, anger and disappointment, because you're feeling like, in a way, you were totally authentic in the connection and the other person wasn't. And it's really hard to kind of move on from the fact or accept the fact that you feel like, you know, they weren't feeling the same way. I think the advice here is not to get stuck, because whenever I see the Five of Wands, if you're feeling like you're super focused on the pushback, or if you're super focused on the resistance, it's going to make it harder to get through the process. Equally, you know, I feel like the Knight of Wands coming up right now, I don't think putting the focus on trying to meet somebody else, or maybe dating somebody else, or sleeping with somebody else is the answer, because it's saying if you try to move forward in that situation too quickly, you may find that you're kind of like, oh, you know, this isn't making me feel better. It's making me more upset or more angry. And like, I'm not actually really feeling like I'm healing. So the answer may not be actually trying to focus on love right now. It may be, you know, healing and working through some of the issues relating to this old relationship. And then when you're not as focused on, oh my God, this is so difficult, I'm never going to be able to kind of move through this, Five of Wands, then you're going to start to see that things are going to heal. But I think it's about getting to the core of the matter and really asking yourself, like, you know, am I angry? Am I upset because I felt like, you know, I didn't get the same, you know, treatment, or maybe they didn't feel the same way, or maybe, you know, they didn't fight for me. Because I think that there's going to be a block here until you kind of come to some kind of conclusion and you realize why you're really upset and why you're so disappointed. And like when you get to the root of that, I think then you're going to be able to heal and kind of move through it. And I do feel like this is also about realizing and recognizing that like there's going to be a wide range of emotions that are going to come up with this, and it's okay to feel through them. You know, like grief isn't always sad. Sometimes it's confusion, sometimes it's anger and frustration, sometimes there's a whole range of things that can come up when you're dealing with grief. And so grieving a relationship is very much a real thing. Just be mindful of like where you're experiencing those feelings of anger and frustration, because that does kind of come through here, and feeling like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to get through this. Don't focus on that, because if you stay there, that's going to make it harder for you to be able to move through it, right? Is there opportunity for connecting with someone else? I mean, sure, you have a knight here. So when you're asking about, well, is there any advice? Yeah, it's just getting there when the time is right. You know, that Knight of Wands, Five of Wands might feel like, well, you know, in my kind of like irrational mind, or my heart is saying, just go out there and meet somebody else and start dating, you know, and then you might find that you're frustrated with yourself, that you're not kind of seeing the results that you're hoping to see. And then you realize it's because of something emotional that you haven't processed or dealt with. So I think that that's something that I would watch out for, is not trying to move forward too quickly, right? Anyway, I hope that's helpful for you. Difficult stuff, sending you lots of healing vibes. Thank you, S. I have got Yana, and let's see, who else do I have? Sarah, and then Frankie. What's up, Danielle? How you doing? Hey, Micah. Yep, there's still time to get a reading. You guys can get a reading. And also, I guess now's a good time to let you guys know I just dropped my video on the 2024 election. So I was working on it all day yesterday. I've been doing research on it for 2 weeks, putting together a presentation. It's 4 hours long. It's all about what's going to happen between now and November of 2024. It actually goes into 2025. We look at Biden's chart, we look at Trump's chart, we look at RFK's chart, we look at America's chart. I'm talking solar returns, progressions, transits, the transits of election day. We look at the transits of the inauguration. And I give you guys my kind of 3, 4, 5 different scenarios that I think is going to play out. We talk about whether or not Trump's going to go to jail. We talk about whether or not Biden's going to step down. If he does, when that may happen. And then I give you a whole list of other candidates, and we look at their chart. So people like Michelle Obama, Nikki Haley, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom. So you guys got to check it out. It's on sale for $17.76 in honor of 4th of July week. So click the link if you guys want to check it out. We will have it on sale this week. I went full bore. Full bore. It's a long one. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see what Yana says. She says, my name is Yana. I'm a Capricorn sun, Aquarius moon, Gemini ascendant. I broke up with my partner a month ago and wonder what's going on between us now. What will happen with us moving forward? Should I move on? All right, well, let's take a look. Obviously, Gemini rising, kind of interesting transits, Jupiter on your ascendant. Sometimes you get a new beginning that you don't see coming. And obviously being a Capricorn sun, you got full moons happening in your sign. You got Pluto, you know, in your moon sign. So what do we need to know about this breakup that she had with her partner? Is it going to be permanent? Should she move on? Frankie says the debate last night was a train wreck. Yeah, it was definitely pretty colorful. All right, so hi Majors. Hey Robbie. We've got the Tower, the Ace of Wands, and the Hermit card. Well, I kind of feel like, to be honest with you, this is kind of like a cathartic bunch of cards coming up. I feel like if the Tower is going to come up, at least it's coming up in the previous position. So it's saying whatever happened, whatever you guys had to clear out, whatever argument there was, whatever, you know, like kind of dust that got kicked up, or shocking conversations or things that were said, like it needed to happen, because it's basically saying it needed to be about clearing things out and like really looking at the foundation of the relationship. Could it have been destructive? Yeah. Could it have been painful? Sure. You know, like this is something you don't see coming and you can't really prepare for it. And I feel like the Ace of Wands coming up in like the current position is saying, okay, you know, now we have gone and kind of uprooted everything. There is an opportunity for new beginnings. There is an opportunity for new life or kind of fresh starts or starting over or improving. Ace of Wands is about passion. This is about creativity. This is about action. And the Hermit card, which is coming up in the future position, does talk about maybe some action kind of going on during Virgo season. We're going to see like Mercury will turn retrograde in Virgo around August, the first week or so of August. So you might want to look at your astrology and see what's happening there. Obviously, you're a Gemini rising, and Mercury going retrograde, you know, that's your 7th house lord, right? And it'll go retrograde in your 10th house. So it can be about your relationship with people you work with. It can be about your relationship status. You know, you go from being like, well, we've been in a relationship. Am I really going to be single? Where do we stand? I think that the Ace of Wands in the Hermit card is saying that you can begin again. There can be renewal if you want to, if you take some action. I think the Hermit card is also saying that this is kind of giving you the opportunity to really reflect and ask yourself, like, is this what I want? You know, are some of the things that have been kind of blown up, or some of the things, were they things that you needed to know? Like, did you need to have like a moment of like complete clarity and transparency before you really decide if this is the person you want to be with? So the Hermit card, you know, I feel like this is about you knowing whether or not this is something you want. Is there an opportunity for renewal? Yeah, I do see that. But I feel like this may be something that's coming closer to like August or September. Nothing is really making me feel like it's like over. You know, even the confirmation card at the bottom of the deck is the Wheel of Fortune. So it is kind of saying like whatever has happened, it's actually a fortunate situation, because either A, it cleared everything out so you can start something new, which you're not really going to be ready to do, it looks like, until closer to like August, September. And or if you're willing to sit with this for a little bit and ask yourself, can I live with some of the stuff that came out? Do I really want to give it another shot? You know, do I want to connect with this person again and see if we can make it work? Like, there likely is going to be some kind of action on your part, because the Ace of Wands in the right now is kind of you going like, okay, what is it that I'm trying to create? What kind of a life am I trying to create? What do I want for myself? And if you decide that you can live with what has happened and that you're wanting to take, you know, you're wanting to take some kind of action, you need to sit on it and think about it for a little bit with that Hermit card coming up, and really ask yourself, okay, you know, my heart of hearts, is this the person I want to make it work with? If so, Wheel of Fortune is saying, you know, it could be a matter of just timing. This also has really strong connections to when planets are moving through the fixed signs. So once again, it's referencing kind of like, you know, Leo time, or it might be, you know, another fixed, you know, transit when planets go into other fixed signs. I do think that something that you're going to want to pay attention to is that Mercury retrogrades in general for a Gemini rising is going to be a bit colorful this year. The first one coming in August is going to be about a complete rearrangement of your work or your status. The one that's going to be coming in the fall is going to be through your 7th house, and it's going to square Saturn. So there's going to have to be this sense of like, when it comes to a partnership, being like, where are we going? What are we doing together? You know, what is our purpose? So I don't really see you aimlessly kind of being in a relationship. I feel like I would sit on it for a little bit. And then if you feel like the time is right to approach them, you know, around the next month or so, and see if you guys can start new. You really have to start new, because you can't go back once the tower has fallen, you know? Anyway, I hope that that's helpful for you and giving you some insight. Yana, I've got Sarah, Frankie, Briana. You guys are all on my list. And let's see, I know I've got Victoria. So let me take Victoria. Thanks for your patience. Victoria says, sorry, I'm flipping my cards over here. She says, I'm asking now that I'm going on a date, so please talk to me, though I can't respond. Please, cards, let me know. Work-related, show me the strategies to get what I want. I'm always thinking about money, career, work-life balance, and what I should focus on for the next 6 weeks, or what I should focus on. Love you. Well, of course you're on all these dates, as you have 2 Capricorn full moons, right, in your 5th house. All right, so let's take a look. What does Victoria need to focus on for the next 6 weeks? You know, usually she's pretty working money focused, but let's see what the cards say you need to be aware of. All right. So we're going to talk to her even though she's not going to talk back. All right, so it's in this order. There's that Ace of Wands again. It's funny that you're like, I'm not going to ask about money or work, but then it's like the cards are going to kind of come up for you. So it must be your Capricorn placements. So basically we've got that Nine of Coins making a reappearance. We've got the Ace of Wands making a reappearance. We've got the Page of Pentacles. Which of these cards is going to be the cards of the evening? Might happen. Nine of Coins is really kind of talking about relaxing and enjoying, once again, the fruits of your labor, right? Like this is a woman that is saying, I can have leisure, I can have downtime if I want to spend it, you know, doing things where I'm kind of pampering myself, if I want to go out and spend money, if I want to lounge around in my finest clothes and, you know, enjoy being outside and in nature. This is about not feeling rushed. This is about being in the moment, and this is about enjoying yourself. And so I think that coming up right now is kind of saying, yes, you have been super focused on what kind of a life you're building and making sure that you have security and comfort. But the Ace of Wands in the current position is saying like there's new energies coming in for you right now. There is new like passions, and this can be people, this can be hobbies, this can be creative endeavors, this can be new ways of expressing yourself. The Ace of Wands is generally a card that we see when we are getting ready to initiate a new career, right? Or a new project, or maybe there is like a new talent that is emerging within us that we're wanting to kind of nurture and tend to. Think of like when you start a campfire, right? And you know, put all the brush or whatever it is that you put there to kind of start the wood, and you have to blow on it, and you have to like create that space for it to kind of, you know, turn into like a full-blown fireplace, whatever. That's how I see the Ace of Wands. It's like, yeah, you've struck the match, but until you actually nurture it and you're able to kind of contain that space and breathe life into it so it can actually grow, it's not necessarily going to be something that is going to turn into a full-blown thing unless you kind of, yeah, you nurture it. So this can be talking about Mars transits. This can also be talking about when planets go through the fire signs, which we are going to be seeing the second half of July going into August. The next fire season is going to be Leo. So you might want to be paying attention. Where is Leo in your chart, right? So if you're Virgo rising, it's going to be your 12th house, which can be hidden talents. It can be about creative abilities and what you're envisioning and working with photography or working with art or other things that are kind of spiritual and also like feeling like very divinely kind of orchestrated. Like I love that Virgo risings have Leo in the 12th house. I feel like they have so many talents. That's why they're excellent actors and actresses. That's why they're really great photographers. That's why they're great at so many creative things, but you would never know that looking at a Virgo rising. Anyway, so that kind of coming up with the Page of Pentacles can be kind of saying, once again, there's a new opportunity that's emerging. Now, pages, this can be people, this can be messages. It can be the new start of a financial collaboration, an investment, a new client, a new partnership. You know, pages sometimes can represent children, and it can represent younger people that come into your life. So this can be where, you know, you're feeling inspired to collaborate with a younger person, or maybe a younger person comes into your life who wants to kind of work with you, or they have some kind of proposal or offer for you. It might mean that you're trying to find new ways to develop your talents and kind of find other ways that you can kind of expand your business and make money, but in a way that feels more creative and less kind of like, you know, grinding. And so I think that that's really kind of with the Ace of Wands coming up, saying like what is needing to be worked on in order to continue to make you feel abundant and have like, you know, all of the resources at your hands, but in a more creative way, I guess, if that makes sense. So the Mercury retrograde for you actually in your ascendant sign into your 12th house may be a time where you're like, I'm going back and thinking about, you know, new ways that I can reimagine my career and rework things or reorganize something, you know, when it comes to my status out in the world. You know, you got Gemini on the midheaven, so that means that you can kind of multitask. You can wear more than one hat, or maybe you have more than one job or maybe like occupation. And so I think that you're trying to find like creative ways to kind of make money and express yourself. And a lot of this is going to come from being like, okay, I want to do something that's going to feel like more exciting or entertaining or creative. So I'd be present with that for like the next month or two as those transits are kind of coming into your chart. Okay. Hope that's helpful. I wonder what's brewing, and I hope you enjoy your date. If you guys want to get in the queue, scan the QR code. That'll take you to my PayPal. We're doing tarot readings. We're doing 1 card for 20, 3 cards for 40. And I am happy to read for you. All right, so we have got Sarah, Frankie, and then Briana. Sarah says, hey Candace, I'm really unhappy with my current job. I've been there for 1.5 years and I feel like I'm barely making any progress. Should I look for a new job, and what do you see in terms of job opportunities coming my way? I'm an Aquarius rising, Aries sun, Gemini moon. All right, so you've got your sun in Aries, so it's in the 3rd house, whole sign. I don't know if you're class this or not. And then your moon then should be in the 5th house. So interesting. All right, so you've got Scorpio as your chart ruler. Where's your Mars? Where's your Pluto? Where is your Mars? Where is your Pluto? I'll check it in just a second, guys. Don't worry. If you send something, I'll make sure I check it for you. So let's see what the cards say. What do we need to know in regards to what is happening with Sarah's job? She's not making much headway, she feels. Is there something else coming her way? All right, so in this order, I like it. It looks like the beginning process. Like there's something that you're just now beginning to either kind of realize or something that you're kind of looking into. So you got Page of Swords coming up, then you have got Page of Cups coming up, and then you have got the World card. So Page of Swords means that there's like new ideas that you have. There's new thoughts maybe that are kind of running through your mind in terms of where you could be working, what you could be doing, what the potential holds in the future. If you should start talking to somebody else and looking what else there is. Knowing what I know just with the very little about your chart, you know, having that rising, that Aquarius rising with Gemini moon in the 5th, it means you're very creative. You have a Gemini signature because you also have your sun in the 3rd. So this could be like marketing, PR, communications, you know, media, anything in revolving around like creativity, self-expression, working with younger people, and like communications, like learning. So I don't know what you do, but that Page of Swords coming up is kind of making me go, oh, well, she's got activations in her 3rd house, which can be about communications. It can be about working on contracts. It can also be about, you know, sprucing up your resume. So that Page of Swords is about taking the first steps basically and kind of thinking about, well, where do I see myself going? What would I be willing to venture into? What would I be wanting to learn more about? And how would I even go about, you know, making this change if I'm going to make a shift? Then you've got the Page of Cups coming up. So it's also saying it's trying to get you right now, because you've already kind of gone through the logical stuff of being like, I've been there for 1.5 years. I'm not making progress. I'm not happy. Really, the most area to kind of like pay attention to and focus on is your emotions. Because the Page of Cups is saying that maybe you're feeling like, you know, emotionally blocked, and it's impacting your relationships, or it's impacting, you know, your mood and how you interact with other people. And maybe it's like limiting your ability to be excited or optimistic about the future when it comes to your career. So I think that the Page of Cups right now can also be talking about an opportunity or an offer that can be coming your way. This can be an offer of, hey, come in, let's do an interview. This can be, hey, I think you're a good match. I'd love to talk to you. Or, hey, I would love to, you know, set you up with somebody that I think, you know, maybe you would be a really great candidate for. So this is about opportunities and offers coming your way for you to meet with new people and partner with new people. I really encourage you to either communicate or, you know, put something out there to let people know like you're looking. It could be as simple as I'm going to go and like update a resume, or I'm going to go and, you know, post it somewhere on a job, you know, website, or maybe I'm going to, you know, kind of tell a couple people, hey, I'm looking around if you hear of anything, because this is about that shift, that mindset shift, right? That like your door is open. And like, I just want to remind you, where intention goes, energy flows. You have a ton of air placements, obviously, if you've got an air moon and an air rising, and you're going to see Jupiter go into your 5th house this year, which could be really great for creative work. It could definitely bring you, you know, like a side business or like a hobby that could turn into something. And you also have eclipses that's still in Aries, somewhere around your sun in your 3rd house. That would be great for like remote jobs. So I don't know what you do, but I do see the opportunity of people being like, okay, you know, if you're interested, let's talk. And I feel like with so much air in your chart that's getting activated with like, you know, Mars is going to go into Gemini soon, Jupiter's going to go into Gemini soon, Jupiter is in Gemini, and then we're going to see trines to Pluto in your rising sign. This is about the power of change, the power of your mind, and really focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. And that's hard when you're in a situation where you're like, I definitely don't want to be where I am. So focus more on where you're going, I guess is what I'm getting at, especially over the next like couple of like weeks. I would, you know, make a point of sitting down and writing out like, you know, an opportunity is coming to me. I can feel it. This is how it feels to get a new job opportunity that's going to be, you know, abundant, and I'm going to be successful, and it's going to be so amazing to accept this offer. You have to tap into, you know, believing and really focusing on what's going to happen. And then also there has to be a sense of focusing on emotionally, because I feel like the transits in your 5th house are so much about experiencing joy. So you have to be happy about where you're going, or feel like you're moving into a space where you can at least be more creative. World card talks about completions, learning a lesson, and that I don't think you're going to get stuck there, because for me, the World card is also kind of like an ending card. So it can be saying like, okay, you've learned your lesson. Like, you know, you're not going to continue to stay and be working jobs where you feel like you're spinning your wheels and you're not going anywhere. You have gotten to a point where you've realized that it's better to go and seek something that's going to be a little bit more challenging or maybe a little bit more rewarding than staying in place where you don't feel happy, and also you don't really feel like you're growing or doing anything. So the World card is essentially saying, congratulations, you're learning, you're maturing, you're growing up, you're graduating, like you're moving on from something because you had that aha moment and something clicked. That's like, nope, there's got to be much more than what I'm doing here. I need to proceed forward, and you'll be rewarded. You know, so the World card is saying you're being rewarded for the willingness to kind of wrap up this cycle and not just stay and be like complacent, and that it's going to bring you to the next level. So it might mean that it's going to be a job that's really going to help you evolve and get to the next level in your career. It might be that you end up, you know, in the perfect place because you were willing to start focus on where you're going. So I see this as a great opportunity, but I definitely feel like there needs to be much more kind of focus on what's going on with your emotions right now, okay? Hopefully that's helpful for you, Sarah. Sending you lots of good job vibes. I don't think you're gonna have any problems actually, especially with planets going into Cancer. You're gonna have a new moon in your 6th house. That's a great time to start looking for a new job. That's coming up here pretty quick. All right, so let me let you guys know who else I have. I know we've had a couple people ask. Thanks for your patience. And we'll probably leave this open for just a few more minutes. So if you hear your name, I have got you. We have got Frankie, Briana, Vanessa, Leslie, Lindy, Judy, and Lindy again. Let's see what else. I've got Micah and Miko. Sarah, Austin. I have Ashley, but I don't have your question. And then I have Tiana. So we'll put 2 minutes on the clock. If you guys have questions, ask your questions, get in the queue. All right, so let's do Frankie. I would love to know how Brian feels about me after we hung out last weekend. Thank you in advance. Let's take a look. So Frankie wants to know, how does Brian feel after last weekend? What's the vibe? What is the vibe? All right, so here are the cards in this order. We've got 4 of Swords, the Hierophant, and the 4 of Cups. Okay, interesting stuff here. So first of all, 4 of Swords and 4 of Cups, for me, these are cards that are like, okay, we're going to assess the situation and kind of see how it's going. I think about fours, about stability, about four corners. I think about, you know, feeling like something is stable and that only something can grow from fours. So Four of Swords is kind of this feeling that's like, okay, I'm not really getting any feedback. You may feel like he's fallen back a little bit since you hung out with him or since you saw him. The Four of Swords is about sitting on the situation, thinking about it, and resting. So it can mean that like you guys spent time together, you had a good time, and now he's kind of sitting back with this being like, huh, you know, could I see myself, Hierophant, like being serious with this person? Could I see myself, you know, spending time with them more often? The Four of Swords is a card of, it's not of action, it's contemplation. It's reassessment. It's sitting on it and thinking about it. The Hierophant is associated with Taurus. It's about commitment. It's about tradition. It's about titles. It's about expectations. Because the Hierophant is kind of like what is expected of us from in society. You know, what we are, whether that's our relationship status, what we do for work, you know, our reputation. And it can be about tradition and like conformity. This is a card that's associated with marriage. I do feel like there is a sense of him filling out the situation and being like, okay, you know, if I start seeing her and connecting with her regularly, does that mean that I'm committing to her? Am I giving the impression that, you know, we're a partnership, or that, you know, this is becoming serious or committed, right? Because it seems relationship-y. Not in a bad way. That's what the card means. And so then, you know, the Four of Cups is coming up, and the confirmation card is the Eight of Wands. So the Four of Cups can kind of be like, wait a second, we hung out, we had a great time, we were vibing, like I'm really interested in him, I feel like maybe this could like be something, and you're like, I'm kind of disappointed because I thought I was going to hear more from him. Four of Cups is about, you know, sometimes pouting and being upset and not seeing the full picture, right? So you see him sitting there folding his arms, there's 3 cups in front of him, so it can mean that emotionally you're kind of like, well, is he entertaining other people? Like, what's going on? What is he doing? And not seeing the Ace of Cups that's being offered to you, which means not see that there's really nothing wrong. You haven't like lost the connection. He may not be as communicative, or you may feel like it's like you're not seeing him, you know, in this last week or whatever. But not to fret, because it still seems like there's a connection there, and there's still like an incoming invitation or, you know, opportunity for you guys to get together. I would expect this quite literally in the next 8 days, because the Eight of Wands comes up as the confirmation card. Not to get like into your business or anything, but this is also kind of talking about like, you know, the physical connection. Like the Eight of Wands can be about like sleeping together. And so it's funny that like the Four of Swords, the Hierophant comes up where you're like, you know, were we intimate in some way that I didn't hear anything? Like I'm kind of disappointed, like what's going on there? The Eight of Wands means that you guys are still very much connected. There's still a lot of energy drawing you towards each other. Or it can be saying that it could be quickly approaching a situation where you guys do have some kind of physical connection, and it wants to make sure that you feel good about where you stand with this person before you do that, because it does seem like there's going to be more opportunities to spend time together. So this can be a message also that's about pumping the brakes and being very careful about jumping into a physical relationship if you feel like, I'm not too crazy about their communication style. Frankly, I think that he's busy. And I think that he's also probably overthinking it in his head a little bit about, okay, am I giving her the impression that, you know, like I'm like her boyfriend, you know? And you guys may really enjoy hanging out together, but he might be kind of playing it cool. And really assessing whether or not that is leading to a much more kind of committed situation. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful for you. Frankie, keep us updated on what happens with Brian. I've got Briana, and then Vanessa, and then Leslie. Get in the queue if you guys want to get your reading. All right, Briana says, hey there, 3 cards please, just a general, what do I need to know? I'm a Libra rising, Aries sun, Cancer moon. With the full moon in Capricorn that you had, and then you got another one coming. This is intense times in your astrology. You're having quite a few squares, right? If you're having family court, though, with planets going through Cancer, it's good about kind of feeling like you're in control, you know? And Saturn going retrograde in the 6th is also about getting like retribution, or being able to have like closure and like having your say, especially when it comes to like legal things. Thanks, Frankie. Appreciate the feedback. All right, so we've got eight of Wands. Again, the Strength card and the Four of Wands. These are wonderful cards. This does make me feel like the energy is very quick moving, optimistic, positive, and also focusing on the more important things in life. I made a comment in my horoscopes this month for Libra rising, Libra suns, Libra risings. You know, when the world zigs, you zag, right? You have to know the opposite of everything, being a Libra rising. So when it's Cancer season and you hear, oh, it's about your home and your family and, you know, not working so much and like, you know, being really prioritized with what's going on with them. Sure, yeah, but it's inverted for Libra rising. So it can be about family, but it's about, in your 10th house, your responsibility, parenting responsibilities, authority, being on top of things. And all of that is squaring your 7th house. So in order for you to be the protector, right, Strength card, you're seeing that it's challenging your relationship with men, squaring your sun in the 7th, right? Or with, you know, in order to get work done, you got to confront people or you got to deal with partnership stuff. So yeah, Libra rising, Aries moon. I know all about that. So I think that, you know, for you, I really think that the month is going to go very quickly. I feel like there is a sense of you getting a lot of work done and feeling like there's a lot of momentum. You're really going to feel that kind of amp up around like the Capricorn full moon. It's going to square all your stuff, so be mindful of that. But the Strength card is basically saying like this is about not trying to control any particular outcome. This is about also like making the decisions that are going to be best for your children. Strength card is connected to Leo, so it can be about kids. And this is about being brave and strong emotionally and not backing down. Focusing on the positive, because these are bright cards. So the yellow represents life and vitality and excitement and also like socializing. And so I think it's a Libra rising. It can talk about these planets that are all getting ready to go into your 11th house, which is kind of cool because you also got the Four of Wands. So you're going to notice this theme over the next couple of weeks where planets kind of filter into your 11th house, including your chart ruler. That's going to be about going to parties, gatherings, get-togethers, socializing, being around friends. Maybe it's about your friends, you know, kids, or, you know, the friends that your kids have, and having more opportunities to kind of collaborate with other people. And so that Four of Wands is saying, like, you know, there's reason to celebrate with other people. Good happenings, positive things that are taking place, being able to have time to spend with them. Maybe it's because, you know, they're home for summer break. I don't know. But the Strength card is saying like you're really counting your blessings and realizing that like this too shall pass, and that in this moment there's actually going to be a lot to kind of celebrate, because it does seem like you're not going to have to back down, and that there's a lot of momentum pushing you forward, and that you're going to have people who are going to be celebrating some of your accomplishments later this month. Okay, so good luck. Little John root is really good for court cases. You know, you can carry it with you, put it in your pocket. And brown candles also is good with some court case oil. All right, so we are going to call last call on the readings. If you guys want to get in, I've got Vanessa, Leslie, and then Lindy. Vanessa says, there we go. Got to read your message. It's a little long. Hi, I'd like to know if it's time or in my best interest to remove myself from a friendship. My friend and I have known each other for over 20 years, and she lives back east but came to visit California. She didn't tell me she was coming, and I found out through social media. When I commented on the post, she responded with, I'll make sure I see you while I'm here, quote, I never reached out but posted a lot of pics. In the past Monday, she apologized that traffic was so crazy in LA, she couldn't stop to see me because of it. But the kicker is, she said that it was her last trip to California and she's never visiting again. I'm pretty hurt. She was so secretive about not telling me that she was coming. Her birthday is 10/7/81. And any and all insight appreciated. Ugh, that's a bummer, man. What's up, Exalta? You're welcome, Briana. All right, well, let's see what the deal is with this situation with Vanessa's friend over 20 years. Sounds like she is a Libra. And yeah, didn't see you while she was in town, and doesn't sound like she made time for you either. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what the cards say for you, Vanessa, in regards to this relationship. All right, so in this order, ooh, we've got the confirmation card, by the way. Ten of Swords. As much as like, I mean, I will say this. To me, I really think it's up to you. Okay? I think it's really going to be up to you because you're the Virgo. I'm seeing the Hermit card popping up. I kind of feel like for you, you know, the Knight of Swords coming up is saying that there was not a lot of thought put into communication on several occasions. Like, you didn't know she was coming into town. You see that she was around. She leaves and then tells you, yeah, there was too much traffic to see you. Oh, and by the way, I'm never coming back, right? So it's kind of like this feeling of being like, whoa, what just happened? Like the way you came into town, the way you ran around, what you had to say, and not being very considerate of like me and my feelings. I'm not making excuses, but like, you know, as a Libra, she's gonna have a lot of retrogrades in her 11th house pretty soon, which is gonna deal with friends and oppositions to Pluto in her 5th house, which is like where she could be selfish, or maybe she's just taking more time for herself, or maybe she feels overwhelmed by some of her friends. I don't know, can't speak for her, but I could see that with the astrology. What's weird is that the Six of Wands does kind of make me feel like this was about a homecoming, right? And then being like, oh my God, I'm really excited she's going to be here. And like, you know, you kind of putting it out there and at least letting her know, like, I would like to see you, or hopefully we can connect. I do feel like that was your way of letting her know, while you're here, I want to see you. So the ball was left in her court. I don't really feel like there was like a lack of any initiative on your part, or that there's anything you could have or should have done. I feel like to some extent, like if that's your really good friend and you guys you don't live in the same place, you would assume that she would let you know when she's coming into town, but she didn't tell you. And then when she did tell you, she didn't get back to you. So the Six of Wands makes me feel like she could have gotten caught up with why she was there for a very short period of time, and that she could have felt like she was being pulled in other directions, maybe. Certainly you got a lot of people on horses, so I mean, you know, unless you're from LA, you don't really understand how people can use, I guess, like traffic as an excuse, but people will use that. So I can see, even like, look at the horses, they're going in two conflicting areas, you know, where she was going and visiting and who she was going to be around versus, you know, like where you are living. Like you guys might have been on two separate sides of LA. So that comes up in the reading. That's just kind of like, I wasn't in that side of town, and like, you know, I'm sorry, but I wasn't coming to that area, so it was harder for me to kind of make time or make plans to be in this spot. Once again, not making excuses, but I can see it in the cards. I do feel like that still the Six of Wands is her riding into town, and like this is about letting other people know that she's there. You know, if she really wanted to, she could have and she should have. Because the Six of Wands is about basically being like, I'm coming, this is my plans, if you want to meet me, follow me. The Hermit card is coming up though, and that's kind of saying like, feeling as if you were kind of left in the dark in the situation, not being told how long she was going to be there or where she was going, or, you know, what her plans were, and then feeling like you were kind of hanging around waiting to hear from her so you could make some kind of plans, and then you heard nothing. And so when the Hermit card comes up in the final position, it's kind of like you reflecting on the situation, especially being a Virgo, and asking yourself like, damn, like, you know, like, first of all, how does it make you feel? And then second of all, like, do you really want to feel like you're in a situation where you don't really know where you stand with this other person? And do you feel kind of a certain way because you feel like somebody left you high and dry, or somebody left you in the dark? I feel like the Hermit card is also more about asking yourself, like, what does that say about your friendship? And this isn't a reflection of you, but what does that say in terms of where she stands with you, right? And so maybe that's got you kind of in your feelings, like reassessing and reevaluating, like Virgos can do. Oh my God, should I have done something different? Is there something wrong with me? Is she mad at me? You know, and then kind of like trying to go through this laundry list of like what happened. I don't think it's anything that you could have done. I really don't. I feel like it's been a lack of communication, and like the way that she kind of came into town or visited doesn't seem like there was a lot of thought or plan put into it. And also like it doesn't look like it was a very long trip. And then the confirmation card for the Ten of Swords is like, honestly, like this may be the end of the friendship, because you may look at it and kind of be like, well, damn, like now you're saying you're never coming back here again. So if you're never coming back here again, how am I supposed to see you when you knew this was potentially the last time and you didn't make an effort? The Ten of Swords is the card of feeling stabbed in the back. So I definitely could see how you're kind of like, oh, you know, like that's like super hurtful what you did. And then on top of that, you say you're never coming back. And then she doesn't have anything to say for like, you know, the fact that she didn't make the time to see you. I mean, you know, she says, I went out to see her twice. Personally, I feel like that Ten of Swords says to me that there is going to be issues being able to move forward, and that it's going to be you kind of sitting with this and reflecting on this and being like, well, damn, like if that's how she's going to leave things and she's not going to make an effort and that's what she's going to tell me, then like, what am I doing? You know? So hopefully that's not the case. I will tell you that, I mean, I can just think of a Libra, you know, experiencing a Mercury retrograde in Virgo, from Virgo in the 12th house until Leo in the 11th house. For a lot of Libras, it's going to be going back and forth with a Virgo or a Leo who comes out and says, well, you hurt my feelings, you did this thing, this is kind of how I feel, you know, this is what happened. So it could be a time where you guys might actually kind of be going through that, you know. Anyway, I hope that's helpful in giving you some insight, but I don't think there's a lot you could have done. So let's move on. We've got Leslie. Leslie says, what should I focus on now to continue building my astrology business? After Leslie, I've got Lindy and Judy and Micah. And if you guys are watching this, we have closed the readings now. We have closed the readings. But we'll be back here next Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you're subscribed so you can catch us on the next live. All right, so Leslie says, what should I focus on now to continue my astrology business? All right, well, let's take a look. And I'll let you guys know who else I have that went through already in just a second. I have the Star card, the Five of Wands, and the Knight of Cups. All right, so for you, Leslie, first of all, the Star card's a great card to be pulling. I feel like this is talking about really focusing on your long-term goals, what you're hoping to achieve, some kind of group connection, collaboration, association. This can be talking about also like your vision for, you know, your astrology business. And this can be about creating a company. This can be about creating an astrology group. This can be about creating a network. Anything like that that's going to involve like other people, that seems to be the area of focus. In the right now position, we have the Five of Wands, which means you may be feeling a little frustrated and kind of feeling like it's a bit of an uphill battle, or that there are some challenges that are happening right now in terms of feeling like there's a lot of competition, you know, out in the world, right? Like I could see the Five of Wands as being like, okay, struggling to feel like seen, or like making my mark, or being somebody who's getting some kind of visibility when there's like a lot of things that can be going on, but there's a lot of people who can be doing that. You might also feel like it's a bit challenging when it comes to working with other people, or it's a bit challenging when it comes to, you know, getting other people to kind of go with the flow of how you're trying to work. So I don't know if you're wanting to work with groups or if you're wanting to work with people one-on-one, but Five of Wands can be this feeling that's just like everything that could possibly be stalling you or delaying you or kind of blocking you is coming up, and you can get kind of frustrated. This next month, I mean, you should know if you know, study the stars, you know, the Mars-Uranus conjunction can be incredibly frustrating, but it can also be about breaking through things. Self-esteem issues, financial issues, you know, physical blocks, things like that. So I wonder if that's going to be about you having a breakthrough, you know, possibly. And this is going to be an interesting time to watch planets kind of go into Leo, because we're going to see so many oppositions to Pluto. So it's going to be about the individual dynamic versus the kind of group dynamic, and the squares to Jupiter and Uranus, and the financial, you know, and physical and emotional and, you know, self-esteem implications. So don't focus on what's not working. See where there's resistance, and then kind of ask yourself, like, why is this coming up? Where can I kind of regroup and kind of go back to, you know, the drawing board and really kind of focus on what the original goal is for what I was trying to achieve. And maybe if you're feeling like there's too much tension trying to deal with other people, you're bringing the energy back to yourself, because the Star card knows when to go its own way. This is the card for Aquarius. I feel like that can also be about something that's going on around the Aquarius full moon, which I feel like in general is going to be pretty spectacular. If you go and you look at those transits, full moon in Aquarius, square Uranus, right? Right when Mars is coming out of the conjunction to Uranus, so it's going to be a lot. And then you have the Knight of Cups, which is talking about new partnerships, new opportunities, having a change emotionally for the better, a change of heart. Maybe this is about you being more intuitively led when it comes to the work that you're doing. It can also mean that you're maybe shifting gears, and instead of trying to do like group stuff, you're focusing on one-on-one group dynamic, one-on-one client dynamics, relationship astrology, you know, new offerings that maybe that you're putting out there for your clients, and trying to create, you know, some interest and opportunities to kind of, you know, be able to connect with people a little bit better. This can be about a partnership or a collaboration that's coming in. The confirmation card that you get is the 8 of Coins. So it does kind of talk about over the next like 8 months or so, there being like this building process and really kind of perfecting your craft. That can also be a time where it's just like, man, like, you know, people don't realize, like, it doesn't matter what you do for a living. Like, you got to get in that, like, you know, 10,000 hours. And until you have done that, then only is when you start to kind of feel like, okay, now I really know what I'm doing. I'm getting the hang of it. It's coming, you know, like by second nature to me. So maybe it is about having, you know, more experience and more kind of hands-on with your clients, and feeling like you're really kind of finding your niche, right? Especially with astrology, you're going to have so many different types of astrology you can practice, and there's people who only want written reports, and there's people who want horoscopes, and there's people who are going to want synastry and relationship readings, and then you can focus on just asteroids or like esoteric or evolutionary stuff. I feel like this is about really finding your niche and being like, okay, I'm going to figure out what I'm good at, and then I'm going to find a way to be able to really hone in on that. And I think that really kind of being able to do that is what's going to really, it's going to help you really expand and find that also there's more financial success, because the 8 of Coins is talking about being able to make money and feeling like it's something where you can make a living doing it, right? So obviously not the easiest thing to work independently, but I do feel like there's some redirecting that's going on for you right now in terms of how you can be best utilizing your skills. But I do see it being something that pays off with hard work and determination. Good luck. All right, so I've got Lindy, Judy, Micah, Emiko, Sarah, Austin, Ashley, Tiana. Was there somebody else that snuck in there? Let me see. You're welcome. Lisa, Rosa, Danielle. Okay, so if you heard your name, I've got you. Tiana. She's back. All right, you're in the queue. All right, so here's who I have next. I have Lindy. Let me just check this because you have 2 questions. Okay, so, okay, I'll answer both questions. Lindy and Judy and then Micah, you guys are all next. All right, so Lindy's got 2 questions. First is, she says, I'm contemplating buying a home or start building in the next year or a little thereafter. I'm not sure which way to go. All right, well, let's take a look. What can the cards tell us about Lindy's future living situation? She's thinking about maybe buying or building in the next year. What does that look like? Some really great cards. 10 of Cups, 7 of Wands, Temperance. This makes me feel like a lot of this is going to be about patience and timing. You know, Temperance card can be talking about Sagittarius themes. So it may mean that there is kind of like a rebalancing and reassessing what's going on in Sagittarius season. I feel like intuitively, though, this is going to be about knowing when to strike and make a decision, because 10 of Cups is like that happy ever after card. It's like we want to have a forever place. We want to build this perfect space, or we want to find this perfect space. That might be like long-term kind of home goals, like main home base. For home, for friends, for family, and also this is about happy endings. So this is a great card. Seven of Wands coming up is talking about standing your ground, and this can mean that you're standing your ground and you're like, I am not going to buy unless it's going to be this price or less, or I am not going to buy unless I feel like it's exactly the perfect situation or the right time or the best location, or I'm not going to back down from a bidding war. It's going to be about really kind of sticking to your guns, and I feel like this is also saying like standing your ground now and not feeling pressured into any situation, not feeling like you have to be pressured into buying something, and not feel like also that you are being told, well, we can't do it yet. This is just about being ready and being prepared for when the time is right. So this can also mean that you're physically preparing, you're financially preparing, you're making decisions right now, and maybe having to make choices so that way you're going to be more so physically or financially prepared when the time comes to make your move. And then the Temperance card is talking about timing, healing, balance, patience. But I kind of get this feeling that right around Sagittarius season this year is probably when you're going to be reassessing. It could be a Sagittarius full moon next year in May, June of Gemini season. You might want to look at what's going on with your transits then. This does make me feel like this is a matter of waiting for other events to kind of sync up. And it can mean you're waiting for somebody to put their house on the market that ends up being the perfect home for you. Or maybe you're waiting for, a situation to play out to where you have more freedom to be able to move, or you have more, financial support. I feel like the Temperance card coming up with the confirmation of the Knight of Pentacles is basically saying like really what you're waiting is for, maybe interest rates. Maybe you're waiting for having more money for down payment. Maybe you're waiting to reassess situations in about the end of this year and go, okay, this is what I can, buy versus this is what I can build. And where am I going to be able to get the most bang for my buck, right? And knowing when to make moves. So I would be reassessing at the end of this year. To me, it's looking like you're going to get what you're looking for, but it's really going to come down to, do you feel like it's going to be too overwhelming or overbearing having to buy or build something? Because it looks like it's got to be something that's just going to work. It's not going to be a situation where you're buying something and you're like, okay, this is going to be a complete overhaul, or okay, we're going to have to completely start from the ground up. Because it does seem like there will be something that's going to already be there that you're going to have to kind of work with, right? Hopefully that's helpful for you. And then your second question was, whatever comes out for new love potential. All right, so this is also for Lindy. Whatever comes up for new love potential. So do we see new love for Lindy? All right, so in this order, oh my goodness, we've seen a lot of the Hermit today, huh? He is definitely making his presence known. We have 5 of Coins, the Hermit card, and the Queen of Wands, crossed with the 3 of Swords. I was going to say this kind of seems like Stella's getting her groove back. 5 of Coins can be talking about coming out of a difficult situation where you didn't feel like you were getting what you needed, or you were feeling unloved, overlooked, unappreciated. Then we have got the Hermit card coming up, and this is about you reflecting on the situation and asking yourself, like, what did I learn here? What's best for me? How can I kind of move on and heal or fix some of the situations that maybe kind of got me into this, romantic situation prior in the first place. It can be about shining a light and reflecting and asking yourself, like, maybe why did I get into that situation with someone? Or, why did I put up with that? Or what do I really want? Sometimes when the 5 of Coins comes up for me and the Hermit card, it can mean that you've been in a situation where you have been feeling like you're not good enough, or you've been in a relationship where somebody kind of beat down your self-esteem a little bit to the point where you're like, you don't realize how amazing you are, or what you have to offer, or how attractive you are. And so there needs to be this sense of really kind of getting in touch with your own inner light and being able to kind of really see and really truly know that you are good enough, and needing to come to those realizations on the inside, and then it begins to kind of show on the outside. So the The Queen of Wands comes up as the final position. This is about being creative and powerful and sexual and fun and sassy and lively. I love that she is the second of the queens, so she's not as idealistic as maybe the Queen of Cups. And she's a lot more independent and free-spirited. And this is about wanting to have passion again, wanting to be desired, wanting to express herself in a way that feels fun and kind of bold and in your face. Very confident as well. So, that coming up with the Three of Swords does make me feel like there is this kind of teetering that's happening right now where you're kind of coming out of your shell, and there is a sense of being like, yes, you know what, I can physically embody it, but there can be this sense of sometimes still doubting yourself and falling back into patterns emotionally where you're kind of like, oh, what if I get hurt again? What if I am put in a situation where, I put myself out there and then, I see the same kind of situation unfold. To me, it almost seems like a lot of the physical changes or the external changes in how you look, how you dress, how you act, it's there. So you're growing in that sense, but there is still a little bit of like doubt that kind of creeps in. And I would say like the Three of Swords comes up to remind us that we have to really, we have to treat the wound, right? We have to pull the swords out for the heart to heal. So there may be some like need to work on like affirmations with yourself, or be like having a mantra that you repeat, or maybe having like a meditation where you are really focusing on like kind of clearing any of like the mental stickies that makes you feel like you're closed off to love. I think that's really the final step. And then people are going to be able to see that like you are on and kind of like open for business, I'm just seeing your questions. Ex-husband was a Virgo, hermit. Yes, putting a lot more into myself now. Good. And a lot of this is also just about acknowledging that, like you can still have some of the wounds there. It doesn't keep you from moving forward. But don't let it impact the way that you think about yourself, if that makes sense, right? I'm glad I was able to help. Feel better. Get back out there, girl. All right, we've got Micah, Emiko, and Sarah. What's up, Micah? All right, so let's see what Micah says. She says, I'm so frustrated with finding a job. Today was the last day of my contract position, and I had a lot of what seemed like promising prospects that unfortunately all fell through. Is there anything promising on the horizon for a certain field I should be focusing on? All right, let's take a look. Let's see. All right, so what do we need to know on the horizon for Micah in terms of work opportunities? Do we see anything there that she needs to be aware of? Oh my gosh, this is so funny. And I'm like shuffling. Some of the same cards are coming out. Ace of Swords, Queen of Wands, Five of Swords, okay? And confirmation card is Six of Wands. I kind of feel like the Ace of Swords and the Queen of Wands is talking about like connections that you've made with people. This is about putting the word out. This is about networking, potential contracts, potential jobs, like connecting and talking to people, but then being like, okay, is it going through? And then being disappointed. Like, it's so crazy to see the Ace of Swords here, which is, yeah, we made the connection, we might work together. And then the Five of Swords is like him watching them walk away and being like, wait, where did you go? I thought we were gonna like work on something together. Ooh. Here's the thing that I'm thinking about, right? So like, you have a lot of Capricorn in your chart. Saturn's getting ready to go retrograde. I think a lot of it can be about you reflecting and reassessing on like, well, what are my goals? Like, who do I want to connect with? That connection to Capricorn does have associations with your whole sign third house, which can very much be about, right? Your Capricorn rising from what I remember. So it can be about like, who do I connect with and how do I network? And like the Saturn retrograde can be bringing that up for you. So it makes sense with the Ace of Swords. That's like, okay, I got to find a way to be able to better communicate with people, to be able to better network with people. Ace of Swords coming up with the Queen of Wands can be that there's a contract coming in. It can also be working with like a job placement specialist. It can be working with a woman who's like a creative collaborator, who might need somebody to do copyright or writing or something revolving around media. So that does come up here. The confirmation card is the Six of Wands. It's actually kind of indicating that there still may be some opportunity for people to circle back or being well received. So I don't know if you've already reconnected with some of the people that you potentially like could have interviewed with or done some work with, but it might be worth shooting out some emails and connecting with some people and being like, hey, just wanted to follow up. You know, if there's any opportunities, let me know. But I really feel like there could be some teaching, there could be some writing, there could be some media work that you could be doing. And I think about Saturn, you know, being connected, you know, to your first house. And the fact that it's going to be, you know, going retrograde technically in your third house is going to be about, okay, how can I put the word out? You know, how can I feel heard? The Ace of Swords is about directing your energy, and it can be also about, you know, making a conscious mental decision to be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to sit down and write something, or I'm going to sit down and post a resume, or I'm going to send it to a group of people. You might have somebody that's going to kind of pick up here and, you know, give you the opportunity, but I wouldn't be so focused on who didn't call you back, because the Five of Swords, you can kind of get stuck there. I'd be more focused on who are the people who are more interested in reconnecting with you and talking about more. This can also be about connecting with people that you've worked with before. You know, the Six of Wands can be about a homecoming. So it's about people coming back being like, oh, it's great to talk to you again. Like, what's up? And you're like, yeah, you know, do you need any help? And that might be an opportunity for you to kind of restart something with people that you've worked with in the past. Wonderful also for retrogrades. Also working with a staffing agency as well, sending thank you emails, even if I wasn't chosen for a job. Yeah, but the thing that to really think about is that probably what's happening is that it may not be a good match. It may not be a good match for either one of you, but it may especially not be a good match for you. Because I feel like the Ace of Swords and the Queen of Wands is very aware and very clear about the kind of work she wants to do or who she wants to actually kind of work with, you know. But you may actually start taking matters into your own hands and like reaching out to people independently and being like, hi, you know, are you hiring? Can we do some work together? You know, what do you have available? Look for Sag, Leo, and Aries type of energies with that Queen of Wands coming up. Sending you lots of good work vibes, Micah. I've got Amiko, Sarah, and then Austin. Amiko says, there we go. Aries Sun, Pisces Rising, Moon, and Taurus. I had a reading with you a few months ago where we talked a lot about my creative process and started my art design business. I haven't really had much progress with my business besides finishing my website and starting an Instagram. I'm struggling to create more work and add to my portfolio to actually start marketing my services and make money. I am still struggling financially. Well, let me scroll down a little bit. But I'm working part-time on a boat, which I love, and I feel like Spirit or Saturn keeps telling me to focus on my art rather than this part-time job, since I keep getting minor injuries and weird things happening on the boat. Just intuitive message. I'm getting that my priorities aren't straight. My question is, how can I keep this part-time gig? I can't see everything that you wrote, sorry. While also having, I'm going to assume the time. Let me see if I can look at this because it was a little long. Is it all in here? Come on. Huh. I'm going to assume you're asking how you can do both. Correct me if I'm wrong, but not all of your question came through. Okay, so let's see what messages we have for Amiko. Trying to focus more on art and creativity stuff, working a part-time gig on a boat, but you're getting hurt. So how can you find ways to be able to do both? How can you find ways to be able to do both? What's the message that you need to kind of be aware of at this time? All right, so these are the cards that I get in this order. Five of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Two of Swords. Okay, confirmation card is the Ace of Coins. Some food for thought. I kind of feel like maybe, and this sounds like weird, I don't know, Saturn and Pisces, you can see issues with boats or being on water. Like that can very much be a thing. But I feel like that Two of Swords coming up in the final position is almost kind of like that always being on your mind, or the stress kind of connected or associated in some capacity with like, oh my God, am I supposed to be here? Am I doing the wrong thing? And then like that kind of impacting you like intuitively or psychologically, you know, because it's on your mind and it can make you kind of feel stressed with having to choose between the two. Five of Cups coming up first does kind of talk about like disappointment or feeling like maybe there is a sense of being like, yeah, I haven't made as much progress as I wanted to, or I haven't been able to, you know, feel inspired enough to be, you know, painting more, creating more, drawing more, and being, yeah, kind of feeling like disappointed that things have been off to a bit of a slow start. She said, I want to know if you think I should move, actually, because my home situation is actually pretty negative with my roommates, and I'm far from the beach and the coffee shops, but also want to keep the boat job. Okay. Knight of Cups is a card of movement. Okay. So the Knight of Cups does talk about, you know, support, relationships, partnerships, other people. It can be talking about if you're feeling like you've been in an environment that has been negative and it hasn't been making you feel good about yourself, or maybe it's been a situation where you've been feeling like really isolated or lonely. The Knight of Cups does bring a shift of energy, and it is through partnership or some kind of support. It can also be through relationships as well. Knight of Cups is also about listening to your intuition, following your emotions and what your gut's kind of telling you. You know, if you're feeling like your job, you know, is something that is potentially eating into your creative energy, then the Knight of Cups can be coming up saying like, you have to listen to that and kind of go with your gut, right? And like really hear what it's saying. And obviously, you know, you're kind of juggling a situation where you're like, okay, I need to be working, you know, to kind of manage my living situation. It can also be talking about like a relationship taking off and there being some kind of support with somebody. I did meet a guy on the beach and I feel like it might be the one, but too soon to tell. This can be about opening up to somebody that you're just meeting, and somebody who's like, what's wrong? Like, or how can I help you? Or like, what are you going through? Like, it's about opening yourself up and allowing another person to support you. And so that can be part of this as well, even if it's just emotionally. I do think that this is kind of referencing a move, actually. You know, movement comes there. The Two of Swords does seem to be kind of stressed with making a decision, but, you know, it may mean that this is about getting you into an environment where you're feeling better, where you feel like it's less hostile, or you feel like it's going to be a little bit more, you know, emotionally stable, which could then allow you to de-stress and not worry about, okay, what's the next step, or when am I going to be creative, and focus on making money, saving money, so then you feel like more capable of being able to create. To me, this seems like a process. It seems like right now you're just aware, hey, emotionally this ain't cutting it, and the need to really kind of progress into potentially not just a relationship, but like a completely different environment that's going to give you the opportunity to feel more clear and like more inspired to be able to create. The Ace of Pentacles is generally within the month, and sometimes it can be talking about new jobs coming or new financial situations or opportunities. I think that this is about some exchange. So if you're kind of questioning and wondering, okay, if I do make more time and I prioritize what's going on with my art, is it going to get me anywhere? Yes. Saturn going retrograde is a time that's very introspective, and it can be about taking time to really process and ask ourselves, you know, what are we creating, or what do we go back to? So if you've been stalling a little bit, you know, the next couple months can be good to just make a little bit more time for it. And Saturn is limitation, and literally, you know, Pisces is water and ocean and the boat. So it can mean that you're saying to yourself, I need to be further away. I need to be, you know, like off of the boat so I can be working. But it may even mean that, you know, you're deciding to move closer to the beach or closer to where you're working. So there's going to be less time in commute. So you feel like you have more free time maybe for your art or for your relationships. I could see that as well. So for now, I just have to deal with my current situation and just try to make art where I'm at until I find a new spot. It seems like it's going to be challenging for you to make art where you are with the Five of Cups right now, because that's kind of saying like you're not feeling supported. So really, it's kind of like a matter of like what's the best case of action. If you know you have to pay your bills and your job is too far and you're not crazy about your roommates, it may be a matter of being like, maybe I can find somewhere closer to where I'm working. You know, I don't want to give up my job, but maybe I can find a new living situation that's going to be comparable to what I've got going on now. I'm going to be commuting a lot less further, and I can come back and forth to work, and I can also be closer to the beach, which may feel good. Look at the water. And also, it's probably going to lead to an environment that's going to be more conducive for being able to be creative, right? And also, like I've said, once again, Saturn retrograde is dedicating a little bit more time and making the sacrifices, and then being like, okay, well, you really start to see the rewards as you're getting closer to when it goes direct, which will be in November, right? But I would open up also to any potential new relationship that's happening and being like, this is what I'm stressed out about. This is what I've got going on. And just getting that emotional support, because it seems like that's what's been kind of lacking right now, right? Sending you lots of good home vibes. I definitely feel like I would try to see if you can find something closer to where you're working, because I don't think it's the time that you're going to give up that job yet. And it'd be nice to be in a space that's going to be a little bit more emotionally, you know, like conducive to being able to be happy. That's so important. You're very welcome. So we've got Sarah, Austin, and Ashley. Ashley, can you send me your question? I don't have my phone on me. So we've got Sarah. Sarah says, hey, I'm a Cap rising with a Leo sun. I recently turned down another job opportunity because my job matched the salary I was offered by the new job. Baller. So I stayed in my job because I'm happy with my job. I can't help but wonder, did I make the right decision by staying at my job? Oh man, see, Capricorn rising with your Leo sun. Let's take a look. Let's see. Obviously, you know, part of this is you're having full moons that are connecting to, you know, your rising sign. For a Leo, you've also got all these like Mars-Uranus things that are kind of setting up in Taurus, which can impact you career-wise. But if you want to know, did you make the right decision? The cards seem to say, yeah, I think you did. You know, you've got Six of Wands, which means, first of all, they seem to have been open to having the conversation with you about the fact that you were thinking about leaving or that you got offered something. And the Six of Wands is a card of warm reception. It's like, no, we want you to be here. We don't want you to go. You know, we appreciate you. We want you to kind of stay here. We're excited to kind of connect with you, see you, or have you around. So that's a positive card. Three of Wands does talk about kind of venturing out and seeing what else is out there. So I think that what's positive about the situation is you did go out there and go, could I make more money? Am I selling myself short? You know, should I be kind of looking out other jobs and considering kind of venturing out and getting outside of my comfort zone and kind of expanding within my career? And I think you needed to do that so you could see what else is out there and also realize that like you do have skills, you are talented, you may be sought after for the experience that you've had. And you went and you looked around and you wanted to see if the grass was greener. But the Three of Wands for me is more about, I'm going to take a look and I'm going to venture out there, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stay. So I think that maybe you were kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out as you were kind of going through the process of maybe applications and considering other jobs. You may not have really anticipated or assumed that there was going to be another job that might kind of open up so quickly, or like a position that might be like offered to you or a proposal. The Ten of Coins comes up as your final card. So this is saying that in the long term, you know, I do think that you're in a position where you can grow. I do think you're in a position where you can stay for a long period of time. Ten of Coins is about long-term financial planning. This can be about, you know, 401ks and investments and, you know, where they are investing in your retirement. This can be talking about, you know, a position that you stay at for a long time, and then you kind of get to a point where you're like, wow, I really feel like I can kind of build a life living here. So I don't feel like that's the card of, oh, you made a mistake. I think that you may be feeling like you're playing it smart, or you're questioning whether or not, you know, you ventured out and if you could have had some, you know, new potential position and taken a chance. But this makes me feel like you're wanted where you are. They appreciate you. They celebrate you. And like they see your value. I mean, okay, you had to shake things up a little bit by being like, I'm going to leave. This is what I was offered in order to kind of get more money. But I think that's I think that's a good thing, and I think maybe it's going to make you feel a little less, maybe a little less unsure about talking about raises or reviews or whatever in the future. And it shows you that you have a company that is that sees the value in you enough to want to make sure that you stay and like offer you something that's going to be similar, right? So I don't think you made a bad move. So that's just my hot take, and you may be there for quite a while. Also, it makes you feel good, right? When you get that offer and then you tell them like, yeah, this is where I'm going. And then they're like, no. That's how you know that they're sweating it out a little bit. All right, so we've got Austin, Ashley, Tiana. You guys are all up next. Ashley, if you're still here, let me know your question. All right, so we've got Austin. And Austin says, Saturn's about to go retrograde Saturn is about to go retrograde and it's going to nail my Gemini sun. I was like, what? My Sagittarius ascendant and my Pisces Saturn, 12 degrees, all once again. That's the degree it's going to station at too in November. What's in store for me over the next 6 months? Doing my best to find methods to weather the crazy storm. Best as always, you're the best. Okay, you're welcome. Here's my thought. First of all, Saturn in the 4th house is a pain in the ass. It's not fun. I'm not going to candy coat it, but you know, because you've been living it for the last year. There's something to be said about like when Saturn retrogrades back, it's just, I guess, like reintegrating the lessons that you've already like learned, you know? Does that make sense? And so 12 degrees, first of all, your natal Saturn. So here's a positive way of looking at it. A planetary return is playing the home field advantage. So a planet is returning back to where it was when you were born. So it's playing with your typical kind of energies. Sounds like you were born with Saturn square your ascendant and your descendant, and Saturn square your sun. So you're used to challenges, setbacks, delays, right? It's the sun, so it can be limitations to travel, limitations to education, to faith, philosophy, applying yourself more when it comes to your belief system, finding teachers. So I really feel like for you, this is going to be about working with that natal square, right? And the 7th house is where your sun is, or at least it sounds like that's where your sun is, and that's about relationships. So you're kind of walking this dance between being like, who am I emotionally behind the scenes versus who I am with other people, and where is Saturn and the return teaching me to pause and really reflect and actually choose new emotional patterns other than maybe what I've experienced growing up, right? Does that make sense? Sun conjunct your descendant. So the ego is very much intertwined with who am I partnered with. And it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship, if you live with somebody, if you've got a house full of people or roommates. With Saturn in the 4th house, you're going to feel alone and kind of isolated. So I would say the retrograde is like, yeah, you're going to feel the pressure again, but I've had that retrograde and I can tell you it's much easier once it's gone direct and you're like, oh my God, this is too much. The retrograde is actually going to be integrating what you've learned. Okay. It's probably going to be like the last square when it goes direct that you're going to be like, okay, now we're coming out of the tunnel. The cards that you get are the 8 of Cups, the 5 of Cups, and also the 9 of Wands. So it's very much what you see. Making a conscious decision to go, okay, this is what I have to walk away from. This is what I have to leave behind because it may feel emotionally unfulfilling or disappointing, or maybe it's a situation that still involves some kind of loss or grief or grieving. Obviously, Saturn and Neptune in the 4th house is some heavy stuff. You can be grieving things connected to your childhood, your family, your living situation, your past, and how that needs to be dealt with before you can really move on with future relationship situations, right? And so this is really kind of about moving through moods and learning not to stay there. I keep telling all my Sag risings, like, make your home your Zen den. Like, you guys need to have a water fountain somewhere on a counter. Even if it's just like a little tabletop one, you need to be burning incense, you need to be clearing the space, you need to be washing the floors with salt water, you need to be doing, oil diffusers, Neptune is oil. You need to create that sacred space in your home, right? That's going to help you deal with the squares to your ascendant, so you'll be a little bit more optimistic maybe than usual, and it's also going to help you better kind of create that sacred space and create a little bit of better boundaries between your home and your relationships. And you'll see Saturn and Jupiter square, so that's where it's a little different. You're going to have Jupiter in your 7th house where partners are going to show up and they're going to go, let's go and travel, let's be together, let's date. And you're going to be like, wait a second, I'm kind of, like nesting. And you'll see that just represents a period where you can't move too quick. So that's going to be happening for you in August and also in December. I feel like the 9 of Wands is really saying this is about you assessing the situation, and maybe you're looking at this being like, oh, I don't know if I can go through that again. It's going to be too much. I just got my butt kicked the last year, having my Saturn return, and then also having, Saturn square my sun. I would say look at the other transits. Don't get too hyper focused on that, right? Like look at your annual perfection this year. I don't know if you're in a 6th house or a 7th house year, depending on how old you are, but you're going to want to go and look at that. Go also and start looking at the transits that are going to happen in August when Mercury retrogrades in Virgo. That's going to be in your 10th house, and it's going to oppose Saturn and square, your sun. So it's going to be about, okay, I'm in charge now. What is most important to me in regards to my career? Then you're going to have another one that's going to be happening in November. That's going to be in Sagittarius. That's going to be in your 1st house, and it's going to oppose Jupiter square Saturn, which means you're probably going to be in a situation where a relationship's being presented to you, and you're like, am I ready? So I think 7th house sun, delayed marriage, pretty common. Usually after 30 is when you settle into a relationship. And then also this is really, I think, a really, really important time where you're learning how to work with Saturn and also expanding with Jupiter. So maybe this 9 of Wands is kind of like reassessing things, being like, okay, I've been able to make it through. It was difficult. I'm still tending some of my wounds and it was bumpy there, but like, okay, what did I learn? And the 9 of Wands is about being like, I'm still standing, like I've been roughed up a little bit, but I'm still standing and I'm able to kind of move forward. Okay, so just keep it moving. That's my advice. And yeah, I've had that transit. I've had the Saturn transit in the 4th house over my natal Saturn with Jupiter in my 7th. And at the time when I had that, I was like, this is fucking terrible. I was like, I'm not going to make it. Granted, Saturn was also squaring my moon, but you have a 7th house planet too. So it ended up being one of the best things ever that happened. It's just you can't really see the forest through the trees when you're in the middle of it. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Sending you lots of good vibes. Make offerings and donations to Saturn on Saturdays. Go feed fish in a pond. Go find like a koi pond, or like go and find like a park, or go somewhere where there's fish. Go to an aquarium on Saturday. Go and feed fish on Saturday. Trust me, it will help. Or go open doors for old people. Go donate dark clothes on Saturday. Go give offerings at a temple or at a church. Those things will all negate some of the Saturn stuff you're dealing with. All right, here's Ashley. Ashley says, Libra sun, Scorpio rising, Pisces moon. I've had the worst luck with dating since my breakup in October. Would love a general read on love matters and any insight or advice. Okay, I got you. I mean, one thing I'll say is being a Scorpio rising with eclipses coming in your 5th house in the fall, things will get better. Maybe it's because you have a Pisces moon and Saturn's around your moon. So you're kind of feeling like a lack of connection and communication with people. But let's see what the cards have to say about what you need to know with dating. All right, any insight or advice? Well, we've got the Knight of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords. Okay, so there's 2 different suits that are coming up. The suits of Earth, which could be, Capricorn, it could be Virgo, it could be Taurus. Usually when I see the Knight of Pentacles coming, it means that there is something on the horizon that is coming your direction. That might be something worth investing your time or your energy into. 3 of Coins can talk about 3 months. It can talk about options, more than one person. And I say this because, well, you've got 2 different court cards coming up here. So that means over the next 3 months, you might be dealing with 2 different people. The 3 of Coins is interesting because traditionally this is like a teamwork, working together, kind of vibe. But if it's in regards to relationships, it's saying that you're really learning how to date. And believe it or not, when Saturn's in your 5th house, if you're single, it means that you have to make the time to mingle, right? And you have to make the time, and you have to sometimes go to the places and the spaces, and you have to kind of really work more in opening your heart up to somebody else. And that can be hard because Saturn wants to kind of close something off. So I think about Saturn's connection to your 3rd house and how this is about, am I making an effort to get out and meet people locally? Am I willing to talk on the phone? Am I putting myself out there and, kind of being direct and assertive? Younger people can come into your life with Saturn in the 5th as well. It can also be a time where you're dating somebody who has a kid. That can happen. But your cards are saying, look, over the next 3 months, there's 2 people. Looks like you're going to interact with an earth sign. You're going to interact with an air sign. So that could be a Gemini, another Libra, or it could potentially be an Aquarius. And it seems like you're going to be kind of weighing your options. For Scorpio rising charts right now, things are going to change in a very big way. You're about to have a September eclipse in your 5th house, which is about true love and romance. And it's going to square Jupiter in your 8th, which means you're going to be put in a position where you're having more intimacy, you're having to be vulnerable, you're kind of merging with another person, and it could be about falling in love, it could be about having amazing dates in mid-September, it could be about pregnancy, and then simultaneously you're also going to be having some Mars-Uranus stuff kind of going through your 7th. So something could pick up very quickly in mid-July is something that I'd be watching for if you're a Scorpio rising. I think where you're kind of getting hit is the South Node transits in Libra around your sun in the 12th house, and it's kind of trying to get you out of your comfort zone and get you from hiding and kind of putting you out with people, right? So you want to go and look at, well, where is transit Venus, and also where is your natal Venus, because where that placement is going to tell you where you're going to meet someone. And so Venus is going to be going through Leo pretty soon, so love can kind of be found, you know, at work or in regards to relationships with people out in the world, or maybe you're kind of meeting somebody through some kind of professional networking. But those are some things that kind of come up, and I would say keep your eyes out for these two people because they're very different. One's going to be more kind of like slow, going at their own pace, getting to know you, you're feeling it out, and you're like, okay, they're sensible, they're reliable, this is just kind of like good, but you can feel like it's kind of safe. And then there's another person that's going to come along that's going to be more chatty and witty and quick moving, and you know, you may feel like it's exciting and you're like, okay, this is fun, I don't really know how to handle it, you know. Scorpio rising people, I feel like you guys have a bit of like a shell, you know, there is like a sense of kind of having your guard up a little bit, and it's primarily because you guys are very sensitive, so there is a sense of being like, oh no, stand back, you know, with your leather jackets and there's cigarettes hanging out of your mouth. But there is a softness to having, I think, a Libra sun in the 12th house, and it's about fear of maybe like abandonment and being very kind of whimsical and kind of romantic and idealistic in like love and relationships. So I would say like you got to feel them out for a couple of months and see which one you resonate with. Certainly the Earth is going to play well with your chart, with your ascendant and also your moon, but I think that you may really like and be drawn to the air sign person because there is this feeling of being like, yeah, they kind of keep things interesting. And so you have to kind of get to know both of them maybe before you make a decision and see which one's going to be right for you. Okay? See what they bring to the table. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Ashley. I have Tiana, Lisa, Rosa, and Danielle. Okay? All right, so I've got Tiana. She says, I'm thinking about moving back home. Is that a good move, or should I stay where I am? I know Jupiter is moving into my 4th house. I'm a Pisces rising, okay? So this is interesting. So if you're Pisces rising, Jupiter is your traditional chart ruler, all right? And it's gonna be going through your 4th house for the next year, so there can be a sense of going back home. Pretty soon Mars is going to be there as well, and that can be about buying stuff for the home, returning back home, moving your things back home, your possessions. So let's see what the cards say, because I'm going to be honest with you. For Pisces risings, you guys have to be really careful about home and living situations. You kind of want to keep an open mind because Pisces is flexible, and Gemini in the 4th house is more than one home. So it can be like, I go home for a little bit and then I go somewhere else, or I have a home base, but then I can, you know, kind of travel. So keep it flexible is my advice. But I think with Mars going there pretty soon and Jupiter already being there, it is very likely that you're going to go back home. The card that you get is the 6 of Cups. So that's about returning, right? The reconnection. This is about memories from your childhood. This is about kind of connecting with a side of yourself that's a little bit younger, a little bit more innocent. I mean, this can be like going home, staying in your childhood bedroom. This can be about being like, oh my God, I haven't been here for a while, you know, and it's familiar and it's good to kind of like reconnect. It is temporary though, so it doesn't make me feel like it's like a full-time thing or a long-term thing. 6 of Cups can be 6 weeks, it can be 6 months. It can also represent kind of going there for a period of where you need rest, recuperation, and like a familiar space until you decide that you know what's next. So know that, like, you know, having Jupiter in your 4th house really until like next spring can give you, you know, kind of some security in your home base of your home, but then it can give you the opportunity to go somewhere else. And likely that's going to be something you're going to be thinking about in August, and then also again in like December, because you're going to see retrogrades that are going to impact that part of your chart. it's definitely going to be harder to kind of move around or make sacrifices or changes in August or December, because you're going to get hit with some Jupiter-Saturn squares. And that's going to be harder for you because you're going to be feeling more critical. And you're going to be like, yeah, I could go home, but like, I don't want to be there, you know, or I don't like this, or this isn't comfortable, or I don't have any privacy. So you're going to be a little bit more critical of your living situation. But the Six of Cups seems to kind of indicate you might be going back. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful for you. I got Lisa Carroll. She says, I am a Leo rising cat sun. What is it my guides want me to see that I'm not seeing in my present energy? Another way to ask is, what's surrounding me, challenging me, and supporting me currently? I got it. Good luck, Tiana. Keep an open mind. All right, so another way, I like that. What's challenging me, what's supporting me? So what do we need to know for Lisa? Is there stuff that's challenging her? Is there stuff that's supporting her currently? This is kind of cool. We got some cool cards here. Knight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, Page of Cups, High Priestess. I see this as, I feel like kind of like being in alignment with knowing your worth, you know, unless you're specifically dealing with some incoming business or financial decisions that you have to make. This can be about who you're partnering with, or deciding to kind of make investments or make job changes, or to move money in a direction where you're feeling emotionally or intuitively guided to make changes, right? That could happen, especially with the High Priestess. But I think of like the King of Pentacles as really kind of realizing like what you bring to the table, like what qualities you possess, you know, where you're doing very well when it comes to managing your career, when it comes to managing finances, when it comes to taking care of your health. And the Page of Cups can basically be saying like really tuning into that, like emotionally, how that benefits you. This can also be about new relationship opportunities. Page of Cups can be saying that there's a new offering that's kind of coming in. So this could be some kind of news where somebody can be working with you, could be benefiting you financially. The High Priestess coming up is about intuiting and kind of like reading into the situation and being like, huh, I really have a feeling like I'm going to end up, you know, meeting somebody that I'm going to work with, and it's going to be like really good financially, and, you know, it's going to be a great opportunity, or a new job that's coming in, you know, and I'm feeling it, or I'm dreaming about it. It can mean that you're focusing more on manifesting through emotions, which I think is so important with Saturn and Pisces. People don't realize that if you can tap into how something feels, whether it's how it feels when you hit the lottery, how it feels when you know, reconnect with somebody after a long time, how it feels when you know, move into the perfect home or get the perfect job, that helps the process of manifestation. So I look at this and I go, oh, well, she's going to be going, well, this is what it feels in order to feel secure or healthy or abundant or have resources, and like that's actually helping you. It may also mean that you're intuitively feeling like you need to be focusing more on, you know, how you can be growing something about a business or your professional life, and like using your intuition to better kind of navigate that. I do feel like whether it's financial growth, professional growth, bettering your health, all of these things are really positive, and that you may not be going about it in a way that's like logical. You know, the King of Coins is like very like earthly and matter of fact, and I feel like the Page of Cups and the High Priestess is like kind of out there. They focus on symbolism and their dreams and their intuition when it comes to managing things, and maybe you're like, okay, I've been doing a lot where I've been making decisions with my logical brain, and doing things according to what makes sense or by the book. And now you're like, you know, I think it's time to kind of really, you know, listen to what my gut is telling me when it comes to making some decisions in regards to some of these topics, and creating space maybe also for relationship support or new partnership or collaboration, or, you know, people who you can kind of connect with socially. That can very much be the Page of Cups. But definitely Page of Cups and High Priestess is your emotions are trying to tell you something. And it can be about better managing or navigating, taking responsibility for something. Okay? So I hope that's helpful for you. Really great cards. If you start having dreams about new jobs or money or somebody giving you something, gifts or resources, pay attention to that, because that was definitely coming through in the cards. We've got Rosa and then Danielle. And Rosa says, is JR being distant because of his health, or is he seeing someone else behind my back? Did he go on vacation by himself or with another lady? Oh my goodness. So why is JR being distant? Has he got health stuff going on, or is he seeing someone else? Because it sounds like he went on vacation, and we want to know, is there somebody else involved? Oh, stab in the back. All right, so here's how I see it. First of all, I did not pull a female court card. So I cannot clarify and be like, yes, he's seeing somebody else. You know, I'm not necessarily seeing that. But I do feel like the Ten of Swords is you going, oh my God, like I feel kind of like disappointed or done dirty, or I feel like I was stabbed in the back, right? Like there's some kind of betrayal. This is a card that's about betrayal. So that, I pulled another card just to get confirmation, and it was the King of Wands, which I feel like is you going, okay, I don't understand. I haven't seen you. You said that you're having health issues, you're not feeling well, or you're sick, but you're going on vacation. Like, what is it? And that you're questioning whether or not you can trust him. When in reality, I feel like the King of Wands is about him being like, yeah, I'm going to do what I want to do. You know, maybe he has been having some health issues, but it's him being like, I feel stagnant. I got to kind of like move the energy around a little bit. Like I need to physically go somewhere else, or I need to kind of do as I please, maybe burn off some steam. There's something to be said about the fact that the King of Wands can be somebody who is a bit of like a flirt. But once again, like unless I pull, you know, Three of Cups, or I pull the Devil card, or I'm pulling, you know, like female trump cards, I'm not going to say I see somebody else. So I don't see somebody else. But I do think that he wasn't completely forthcoming with you about what his plans were, where he was going, and what he was doing. Something else I will say is that if he's a Libra rising and Mars rules his 7th house of partners, right? Mars is now in his 8th house and is coming into conjunction with Uranus, which means he can have some kind of like sudden shocking situation with like a partner of some kind because of something that could be concealed, but it could be related to other things. It could be, you know, how he's spending money, if he's drinking, if he's partying, like what have you. Lovers of other people is going to be the 11th house. So if he's a Libra rising, you're going to want to watch, well, what happens over the next month or so when planets go into Libra and they oppose Pluto? It's going to be somebody saying, well, what's going on? Are you friends or something more? Or what are we with each other? So the pressure is going to definitely get turned up a little bit. But I think the real betrayal is about him not being completely forthcoming with you about the fact that, yeah, even if he wasn't feeling well, it seems like he still made the decision to go out and do things where he was social, but it was more about him kind of getting outside of his usual kind of space and like getting a break. So that's my food for thought. So I think it's more about whether or not he's being direct with you, if he's needing some space, right? You said in the astrology reading that he was having lots of health issues, which he is. Yeah, that's nothing to mess around with Saturn in his 6th house, and especially over his moon. Yeah, that's definitely an issue, especially when it comes to like health and habits. So I would definitely take that seriously, big time. I hope he's okay, but also I hope that you're okay too. Keep me updated. We have Danielle. She says, hey, I'm throwing a birthday party for myself on the 3rd, something I usually do not do, and I'll be inviting my family and close friends. One of them being someone who I have a crush on or have tension with. Anything I should know? I'm a Libra rising 29 degree and moon in Cancer. Libra rising and moon. Got it. And then moon in Cancer. All right, sorry, I'm trying to read here. Obviously not doing a very good job. All right, so what do we need to know about Danielle throwing herself a birthday party? Someone's coming that she has a crush on. We want to know, well, if there's anything that she should be aware of in regards to the party. You get the High Priestess. I'm going to pull another card. That's funny, I just pulled that. High Priestess and the Tower card. I think that this is about looking ahead and trying to see where there could potentially be anything that could feel like, oh my God, moments that could be prevented. I say this lovingly because you're telling me that you are a Libra rising 29 degrees. So I don't know when your birthday is. You're having the party on the 3rd, so in a couple days. There is this incoming full moon energy in a couple of weeks that's going to be exactly square your sun. That'll be on the 21st. And that can be about something coming out in regards to family, somebody who is in your home space or maybe your family space, something going on with a family member. I think about that full moon conjunct Pluto, and that could be about honesty and disclosure and something shocking and surprising, or some kind of like secret becoming unveiled. So I feel like with the High Priestess coming up and the Tower card, it's about being like, okay, you know, in order to prevent some potential challenges, I need to do my damnedest to kind of like make sure that I'm intuitively tapping into who's all here, you know, who do I need to kind of keep separate from who, where do I need to kind of be prepared to keep certain people entertained, and also maybe just remind certain friends or family members not to be embarrassing. The astrology at the beginning of the month is very good, but I think about something that is going to be happening around the 3rd is I believe we're going to see Mercury, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I believe Mercury is going to go into Leo. So it's going to be about communicating and being around your friends, and Mercury is going to oppose Pluto in your 5th house, which means that there could be a little bit of feeling like awkward or tension, merging friends with a potential romantic interest, or you're like having friends around your romantic interest and you're like, don't look at him, you know? So I think that there could be something brief, but it's a very quick moving transit. And I think that you're in tune enough to know, you know, who should be meshing with who and who you need to keep busy and what you need to potentially do to kind of keep everybody entertained. So there's no friends or family member that are kind of like embarrassing you or like making things kind of weird around your potential person. So it looks like you'll be able to kind of prepare for that preemptively. But also keep an eye out, because there can be some kind of like realization or awareness or something coming to light about, you know, your family knowing something about this crush or something that somebody said to him there, and then it's getting back to you around the time of the full moon. Just thinking about your transits in general and how some of those kind of play out. So I'm sending you lots of good vibes for your birthday party. Happy early birthday. And let us know. Circle back and let me know what happens. You know, usually I think of like moments where I've had like Mercury in my 11th opposed Pluto in my 5th, and it's always kind of been like sharing something, you know, that I'm like celebrating with friends or something, and then they kind of make it about them. You know, so there can be this sense of being like, hi, it's not about you, it's about me, it's my day. So there can be a little bit of tension like with that as well. So, you know, don't forget to remind them whose party it is, you know. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful for you. Definitely report back and let us know how it goes. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, for watching, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. We're here every Friday, 5 o'clock p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 o'clock Pacific. Check out my website if you guys want to see that 2024 election video that I put out. It's brand new, just came out today. I've been working on it the last 2 weeks. We just shot it yesterday. We will be here for Astro Weather on Sunday, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will catch you guys all back here next time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and you guys take care.